It's Friday afternoon in Sydney, and that means it's time for Friday Beers with Marc and Stuart. I'm Stuart Roberts.
I'm Marc Hennis.
And we've got a lot to talk about today.
Absolutely. Let's get straight into it.
It's fair to say that the Libra announcement from Facebook has run shockwaves through the technology world.
Absolutely.
Share with us how this could be potentially one of the biggest economic events of the 21st century.
Yeah, this is huge. So basically what Facebook, together with 27...
I'm so excited I need a beer right now.
Already? Wow. Hang on. Didn't we make you chief executive in charge of beer nuts?
Yeah, and I let you down today. I was so excited by the Libra announcement, I forgot to go to the supermarket and get my beers.
Anyway,
yeah,
Libra.
Right.
So it's a digital currency.
Okay.
But it's not like Bitcoin, where Bitcoin doesn't have any intrinsic value.
Right.
But Libra will have.
Right.
Basically, you transfer your fiat currency over to Libra.
Right.
Which is essentially an app, and it can run in Messenger, it can run in WhatsApp,
right,
or standalone, and it allows you to transfer money all across the world.
Right.
But it's backed by actual currency, so there is an intrinsic value to Libra.
Okay.
And it can be used for any sort of transaction by the time it becomes available.
When you say back to it, I would link my Visa card, for example, to my Libra account.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you transfer money, so your Aussie dollars into Libra.
Yeah.
You can pay someone anywhere in the world using a thread in Messenger or Facebook, or even, and I think that's the plan longer term, also to use for online payments, or potentially even at retail stores.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of very large companies involved with this, including of course Facebook, Visa, Uber and Lyft, PayPal, Vodafone.
Spotify is in there, so they want to be the top of the pops in terms of music streaming.
Exactly.
Right.
Stripe, payments provider.
Right.
So I think this is huge. It's the functionality is comparable to what you can do in WeChat.
Right.
But this is a global application, so not just China. And we've seen a lot of smaller, fintechs come up with sort of easy ways to pay money to a friend or whomever.
Right.
But this, given the scale of Facebook,
this could basically blow away every kind of payments engine that is not backed in, not at the back some way, shall we say, of this Libra system.
I think any company generating fees from payments or money transfers should be very afraid of this.
Okay, so if I'm a big four bank in Australia, this could disrupt my business model, right?
It can, yeah. So what we've seen over the years is, overseas money transfers moving from the banks to Forex, for instance, and to TransferWise.
Right.
But even these ones are still relatively slow and expensive compared to something that Libra can be at some point. So, there's a reason that Stripe is involved in this, and that MasterCard and Visa are involved in this, because this is potentially very, very huge.
Right.
I think.
And the only thing that could hold it back, obviously, a year ago, Mark Zuckerberg was busy looking into my data and selling it to the Russians.
Yeah. Now he will be.
Now he's looking into my wallet, right?
Your wallet.
Right.
Well, that's what obviously the sort of the first things that come to mind with something like this. But given that this is a totally separate company from Facebook,
right?
Of course, Facebook is one of the founding companies, but it will be very separate, and there will be no exchange of data, from Libra to Facebook.
Okay.
But of course, I think later on, the company itself, a standalone consortium, will probably use your payments information at some point, probably to sell advertising for, I don't know, insurance, that sort of stuff. Okay. But your Facebook information should be separate from information gathered on Libra. But you can think of companies like Afterpay, Ziptel, Splitit that listed a while ago. All the banks, Forex, TransferWise, Western Union, those sorts of companies, longer term, will probably lose out. I'm not saying they will disappear, but there will definitely be strong competition for fees, coming out of money transfers and payments.
Right. So, Mark, let's turn to something I think is important for our domestic economy, and that's the recent decision by the Queensland government to approve the Carmichael coal mine in Queensland.
Right.
Now, as you know, this has been a huge issue, political issue in Australia. Indian company called Adani has been trying to develop this mine now since 2010. The Green Movement have held it up. They're concerned about water quality, the issue that a lot of the Green parties have with carbon emissions.
Right.
The company also had to assure the world that the black-throated finch would not be rendered extinct.
The what?
A black-throated finch. It's a bird.
A bird.
A bird. Now, if you've got a name like black-throated finch,
you should go extinct.
You should go extinct. Anyway, but if you're
we don't mean that, Green. No, just go like this. We didn't mean that.
Yeah. So if you're a black-throated finch, your future is assured now. The environmental protection people in Queensland will look after you.
So what are they doing with them?
I don't
Rounding
know.
them all up and into the sausage factory there. All right. Well, Greens, we don't mean this.
Yeah, right. So basically, it's the first new coal mining province in Queensland in 50 years. And there are 6 other mines lined up behind the Adani mine to go ahead. But I'm seeing a major sovereign risk issue coming off Australia's premier industry, being the resources sector.
So what's the upshot then?
I mean, the upshot is a lot of companies who wanted to explore in this area left the Carmichael Basin, the Galilee Basin alone.
Right.
For fear that the green movement would knock them down.
So if I'm an investor, what do I need to look out for?
I'm looking for companies that potentially want to move in and explore for the next the next big mines in this basin.
Right.
Keep in mind, Adani wanted to do a 60 million tonne a year coal mine, which would have made it the biggest coal mine in the whole country. Even at the cut down rate they're working at, it's still a pretty big mine.
All right.
So there's a huge amount of shareholder wealth to be created for companies intrepid enough to move in here, and they've got the green light now.
All right. So as an investor, keep your eyes open for any new initiatives in this space by existing or new companies looking to mine.
Right. Now, Mark, we've got some research out on one of our clients, Sensera.
Yeah. So we published a note on Sensera last week. In a nutshell, Sensera's got 2 business units. One is micro electromechanical systems, really tiny semiconductor devices that go into medical implants or in military applications, optoelectronics.
Yep.
That's growing really fast, and they've worked with a number of.
Basically, you're talking about the Internet of Things, right? That's
the other thing. So this is purely MEMS, focused on implants and stuff, and they've been working with medical companies over the last 2 years. And all these guys are now ready to start buying these MEMS from Sensera, implementing them and selling them. So there's a huge growth there.
Right.
The other one, the IoT thing, is basically sensors and tags for mining safety, for instance, or for animal health. So, the ear tags for cows, that sort of thing. And there's huge growth in that as well.
Right.
And so have a look at the report. It's on our website. We published it last week. Great upside, I think, in terms of valuation.
Yes.
Have a look at that. Definitely a very interesting semiconductor company.
Right. Now, Mark, ordinarily on this program, we drink craft beer from Australia. I'm making an exception this week. You're flying to California shortly to meet with some ASX-listed companies that are from that great state.
Yeah.
So in honour of your trip, this is Carl Strauss's Tower 10 IPA. So Carl Strauss was the first brewer in San Diego post-Prohibition. They call it Tower 10 because the founders met on Mission Beach and planned what would become a pretty good brewer.
And for the folks that don't know Mission Beach, San Diego, excellent volleyballing.
Right.
So there's like 20 or 30 courts out there.
Yes.
So anyone wanting to play a bit of beach volleyball in Southern California, go to Mission Beach, San Diego.
Right. And well, so the beer in the neighbourhood's not bad either. This is so good, you would store this in your girlfriend's fridge, or your mistress's fridge,
or just at home,
or just
just checking.
Right, sure. So the ABV 7. So you get a nice kick out of it on the alcohol front. But the hops as well. This has got an IBU of 70. Now, part of that is just putting in good stuff, Cascade, Chinook, Centennial. But it's the dry hopping that really
dry hopping.
Dry hopping.
Hopping.
The best IPAs are all dry hopped.
Right.
Now, let me explain dry hopping. I don't know what you're laughing about.
I know what dry hopping is, but all right, dry hopping.
Right. So
101.
Simply steeping the already fermented beer with an extra level of hops at the tail end.
So it gets more bitter?
It improves the bittering quality at the other end. So in this case, you take Centennial, which is an old standby for makers of IPA, but dry hopping at the tail end of the process is what gives you that.
Sorry, I keep seeing dry humping. Right? This is my preferred mine.
Right. So, but it's got a kick to it. But it doesn't sort of knock you flat. It's very pleasant. You could drink a few of these on a decent Saturday at Mission Beach while watching the volleyball.
I'll try that.
Right. Well, good luck in investors for the next week or so. Enjoy your trip to California, and see you next time.
Cheers.